Hey friends, so I'm here because there's another thing I just wanted to share with you. 5 years ago, I set up another protocol. You're going to find that out through the series of videos with me getting my health back together, having to put up new protocols to get better. And one of the things we did was I decided was I'm not going to own a broom in my next home. And this is because every time that I was using a broom, my allergies were getting stirred up. It was causing respiratory issues, all that great stuff. And I didn't like what it was doing to me. So dust would just spread throughout the house. It would cause me to have to grab Kleenexes all the time. Just to clean the house was difficult, and it wasn't getting the job done. And it was not a sanitary enough tool for me to use to continue owning one. But it's funny because people will come and stay with us or come visit and they'll say, hey, where's your broom? And I'm like, I don't have one. I'm like, what? Thinking maybe I broke it or something like that. But no, I intentionally choose not to have a broom in my house. So I'm coming to you today because you can see I got some laundry to do. I wanted to do this video out there where I've got a pile of dirt. Grandbabies came to spend the night. And, you know, I'll give them popcorn and different snacks and stuff like that, and food will fall on the floor. So I was just doing the cleanup and realized, man, I haven't shared that with the rest of you of how do I do my cleanup, because it does take my energy to clean. But I have found some tools that make it easier, faster, and does not affect me in a respiratory way that a broom would. So that's why we're going to chat today. So I got some goodies. So what are the tools that I prefer? One of the tools, but I'm not going to go in detail of it. Whoa, you can see it. It's my Miele vacuum. It's the Miele. I've got a compact C1 HomeCare PowerLine vacuum. Friend actually purchased it for us prior to our moving here. Because he was finding the same issues with allergies and such, a lot of vacuums kicking things up. I love this thing because has a true HEPA filter inside of it. It's completely sealed, so when it vacuums, none of the dust particles get kicked back out into the air like you would with the broom or other vacuums. It seals it in there. The thing is fabulous with filtration. And this message is not going to be about that vacuum because that is in a different message about best vacuums. So I'm going to talk about the other things I use, like right now, you know, cleaning up the floors, getting the dust and the popcorn picked up from the kiddos. What do I use? And so the other thing besides a vacuum when I'm going thorough, but when I want to go fast, I use two things. And one is called a Dustbuster. It's handheld vacuum. I'll talk about that in a minute more. And then I also use a spray mop. I do also have a Swiffer mop, but I tend to use that Swiffer mop more underneath the daybed behind me, just to get that cleaned underneath. But the rest of the house, I choose to use my spray mop. Honestly, I use it because I love the larger pad that it comes with, and I love that I can wash it. So why don't we talk about that? So give you a visual of my spray mop and how dirty it is now after my full house mopping. But I love the one that Dollar General actually sells. See, you can tell it's pretty dirty because I just got done doing the full house, even all the entrances. So I love this Dollar General one. And it's called Dollar General Home Spray Mop. You can find other ones, I think, by Libman. You can find them online, but I have found that when I've needed to replace it, the Dollar General brand is $20 to replace it. Other ones are $40 up to $110, I think it is, online that I looked. But the way it works is you've got a handle at the top, which is a trigger handle. And then in the middle, it has a spray bottle that's removable. You then put your solution in and actually unscrews whatever cleaner you want to use. You can put inside of there, then you put it back into its holder face down. And then the very base of this mop has this detachable microfiber. Boy, this is really dirty. We did a lot of playing out in dirt this weekend. So it's got this microfiber cloth. Here's a cleaner one that Velcros onto the base of this spray mop. Other reason why I really like this is not just the thoroughness that it does and the fact that it doesn't kick dust up like a broom does, but I can, like you just saw, I can peel off the dirty microfiber cloth. I can wash it and reuse it. So I actually have 3 of these pads. So if I dirty one up heavily in the house, I can just do a second one, you know, peel and stick the second one on for the rest of the cleaning, you know, on that day's cleaning. But typically I just need one because we've got a smaller place. So here's something else I'm going to show you. So compared to a Swiffer pad, so those of you listening, you're not going to see this, but what I'm showing is a side-by-side of a Swiffer Plaid Pad and then the size of these Dollar General or Libman, the spray mop head. So it covers a larger area when you are spraying and wiping with this mop, spray mop, than a Swiffer mop does. Yeah, I can show you. It just covers a whole lot more space. So like when I'm doing my hallway, I'm just sitting it down, doing a spray, running it across the floor, and probably like 1, 2, 3 strips down, it's all been wiped. And it also has this nice little swivel on it. So you can kind of go down one direction, swivel around, come back, and it just picks all of that dust up all the way to the end of where you push your pile to. So microfiber cleaning cloth is fabulous. What else? It's easy to refill. And it's just a nice grab and go whenever I have to do a quick cleanup and I don't want to haul my vacuum, because a vacuum sometimes can feel heavy to me, having to lug it around and replug it in. That some days I don't have the energy to do a full vacuuming, but doing just the spray mop helps me do it faster. It's less weight that I've got to push around or pull, and allows me to disinfect in a faster way. Because those of us with a chronic illness, it can be hard for us sometimes to even just clean because of the weight of a vacuum or the weight of a broom or what it costs to us in our breathing and what's shooting out in the air with the tools that we're using. And I have found that this, the Dollar General Home Spray Mop, again, it was only 20 bucks, with this microfiber cleaning cloth and the spray that I can put in it versus buying the already one in the can, because other brands make you buy the little tube and then slide it into their holder. This one you can make your own DIY cleaner, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the lightness of this tool based on many others that are out there. I also like the height of the handle as well, so it's easier on my back as well. As well as those of us with the chronic illness, you know, we're not always exercising like other people do, so we don't have the use of all of our muscles on a regular basis that others would. And this just makes it easy on the body, just telling you. So those are my big reasons of why I go for that. So after I've dusted everything, you know, with the spray mop, and all you got to do is pull this trigger and it sprays your disinfectant and your cleaner out on the floor and then goes over it. And when I'm done, I just put it all into like one pile at the end of one part of the house and one pile on the other end of the house. Like we've got popcorn. If I could have moved my computer out there, I would have shown you our pile. Even like dried little flowers, because one of my little guys likes to, you know, pick the flowers, and or we'll just drag in the weeds from outside on our shoes. So anyway, all that stuff was picked up, even a little half chicken nugget. Fell on the floor. So once that's in its pile, obviously the chicken nugget's not going to be scooped up this way, but I mentioned that we use it's called a Dustbuster, but this one is a Black & Decker Dustbuster Advanced Clean Cordless Handheld Vacuum. And I asked my husband if he would pick me up one, and I just love the style of what he bought for me, because it has a washable liner inside and helps with that dust going out all over the place as well. It's a much better quality than others that I've owned in the past. But once that pile of dirt is in its pile, I will then grab this Dustbuster and vacuum it up. It's got 16 volts and it gets rid of all of that, the Cheerios, the dust, I'm telling you, all that little stuff, the rocks, you know, it scoops it up. So it's that strong. I would use this in my car, but I would like to have a separate one just for my car. Okay, so the Power has excellent suctions. It cost on Amazon between $50 and $60, I believe. But I'm not going to go into detail on that as well. But what's great about this is you can pull it apart and take pieces off, wash it. All of the parts are washable. And you can even purchase the different parts too. I'm trying to remember how to do this. So your filter, you can even pull apart, take your filter out where all the stuff is collected. Even this comes apart as well. You can see the hairs, everything that it collected. But each piece pulls apart, washable. You can disinfect it and then reattach it all back together. Love it. Now I just put some of the junk on me. That's okay. So last thing I wanted to share with you, besides those two things that make my cleaning easiest, is give you a real quick solution to put inside of that. What's that called? Spray mop. And so because I was able to get my hands on a whole lot of free alcohol, isopropyl, 70% alcohol, hope I'm saying it right, 70% isopropyl alcohol, was able to get quite a bit of it for pretty free, actually free with my insurance. So I just grabbed a bunch of those and like, well, what could I use it for? And saw that it is a solvent, a natural solvent, and it's a disinfectant. So I'm now using that as part of my cleaning. The only downfall to it is if I use too much of it in one day, that smell gets to me. It does have some vapor, so you have to be careful of that. So one thing I would suggest to all of you that's got the sensitivity, that you might be one of those like me that has to wear a mask when you clean. There was a time when I couldn't even be in the home when the house was being cleaned by a friend when I stayed with her. I just couldn't tolerate any cleaners at all. So I've been on a huge search of what's DIY, which is make your own, and what's safe for me. So I've tried distilled vinegar as a cleaner, but I have found that when I do the vinegar as a cleaner, my arms, all of my upper arms and my hands, they just burn. Vinegar just doesn't agree with me. So if I ever use this, I have to have my arms covered and have gloves on as well. So I typically don't use that except for using it in my laundry along with my cleaner. So I prefer the alcohol, but both of those you can choose which one, distilled vinegar or alcohol. They are both solvents and disinfectants. So because of it being cheap, I'll keep going with the alcohol. So what do I do? So for a DIY cleaner inside of the spray mop, I measured it and it holds 14 ounces of cleaner. So to make a 14-ounce cleaner to prepare into the spray mop, or you can use this for just household stuff, you would use 1/4 cup of your 70% rubbing alcohol or your isopropyl alcohol, or like I said, vinegar. So that'd be 1/4 cup. And then you would add a tablespoon or like so many drops. I just squirt this stuff in, but I use 7th generation Powered by Plants dish soap. Love this because it's the one dish soap that I don't have reactions to when I wash dishes. I don't have this itching because of the corn that they put in it or the fragrances they put in it. I'm very hypersensitive to the fragrances and what the ingredients that they put in a lot of soaps. So this one, it's a free and clear, pure and simple. I also like the mint one. Like that mint, I think it's a citrus mint. Anyway, so 7th gen, free and clear. Then you would put like a tablespoon or a really good squirt. And then the last step would be your essential oils. And one that many people use is like a thieves oil. This is like a Young Living Thieves, or you can find Bandit's Relief. different names online, thieves relief. There's a bunch of different ways that they call it. Or germ guard, different brands. So you would put 5 drops of that in there, or you could do peppermint. I actually really love the smell of peppermint, and the peppermint takes away from that alcohol smell, if you know what I mean. I'll put in like 5 drops of peppermint into this mixture, and it just dampens that smell of the alcohol and just makes it a little more fresher. But you could add whatever essential oil you want, unless you are being really intentional of adding more antifungals, which would be like a tea tree, and some citruses. There's different things you can put out there. So once you've got your alcohol in there and your dish soap, as well as your essential oils, you probably have about 9 ounces left that's empty of your container, and you want to fill the rest of that container up with water. And so all this can be assembled inside your sink, really easy. And then you just fill it up, turn your tap on, fill it up, and then put the cap back on to the container and shake it, and then put it back onto that sprayer holder. There's actually a holder at the bottom of that spray mop. You just slide it back. Once you do that, you're ready to go and do your cleaning and go have a heyday. What I love about this is the fact that I no longer have to own a broom. I no longer have dust being spit up by that sweeping action of a broom, and that dust that's been stirred up and going around the air, it lands somewhere and it goes right back onto your floor. So you haven't fully, I'm just gonna say it, you haven't sanitized that floor with just a sweeping of a broom. And it gave me a lot of respiratory issues every time I used a broom. And when I was done, I found I was also cleaning the, what is that called? The dustpan. I was always washing the dustpan out after I would use a broom. I was also always washing the head of the broom, you know, the bristles. I was always having to wash that out, because all of your dirt and stuff, though you've swept it up, it's still stuck inside of your broom bristles. And so how sanitary is that? So I was always having to knock out whatever was inside the bristles, and then having to go and wash the bristles, sanitize it, and then put it away. That was a lot of, I'm not going to say a lot of work, but there's better options out there for cleanliness for those of us that have respiratory issues when cleaning goes down. And that's why I have found that these things like this spray mop from the Dollar General Home Spray Mop, the Black and Decker Dustbuster, how those 2 things especially have helped me, besides the Miele vacuum, which I didn't go into detail. These things have helped me no longer have the respiratory issues. They've helped me no longer have the allergic reactions. I don't have to go over areas again because the dust settled and then had to be cleaned again. And the job is much more simpler on my muscles and my body as I continue to heal and just care for myself. So the simplicity for my body and breathing, those are the great gains of using these tools for me. And I'm able to do the cleaning myself now. So that's a benefit as well. All right, you take care. Bye.